Give me a
test.
1 second. Give me a
Welcome to Jazz Live San Diego. We're at Jazz Live San Diego with Nathan Hubbard,
Okay.
and not all the other people that are playing with him tonight.
Nathan, give me some tests.
Checkity check, 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 check. Microphone check.
Okay.
Yes, yes, yes.
Okay. Let me know when you're ready to go, Vince, and we'll do it.
All right, we're ready to go.
Go.
We're here at Jazz Live San Diego with Nathan Hubbard. Nathan, welcome to Jazz Live San Diego.
Thanks for having me, Vince.
So it was just about a year, I don't know, and a few months ago that you and I were talking on the New Jazz thing here on Jazz 88 about Encinitas and everything after. So
Yeah.
let's just start by saying congratulations on your this year's San Diego Music Award. That's
Thank
a
you.
fantastic honor, and we'll talk a little bit about that. Let's talk about tonight's show. You're playing music with a large ensemble, and I'd like to kind of get into all the people you're playing with, but the music first, you're playing music from a new release of yours called In Pursuit of the Scarlet Woman, correct?
Yeah.
And this music was recorded, as I followed through your Facebook posts and those of your cohorts on this, up in the Laguna Mountains by a campfire.
Yeah.
So let's first talk about the music. This was obviously new music that you had written?
This is music that's been has been written over the last few years. We actually tried to record it 3 different times. First time was a dismal disaster. The second time there was a wildfire and we canceled. And the third time we finally got up there, not into the camp spot that I wanted, but we made it up to a camp spot that worked. So it was sort of a work in progress. We played the music live a few times, but the idea was I've always loved people singing around a campfire. I mean, that's pretty simple. And then also I had done a record a few years ago that we talked about, This Middle Ground, which was a bossa nova record. And it was all songs sort of written from the end of a relationship, and it was sort of the sad, I'm so sad, this ended. And I realized, well, I should probably do a response record that was a little bit different. So these are all murder ballads. They're all from the perspective of, I'm glad that's over, and in many cases the songs, the one that finished this, because they're dead now, usually from a female's perspective, which is a little strange. Anyway, so I decided what a better place to record a bunch of murder ballads than around a campfire. I know, you're giving me that look that everybody gave me when I told them, hey, I want to go to the mountains and record these murder ballads. And it took me a while to talk everybody into it. So we finally did it. It was a really good thing. I clearly was inspired a lot by Ma Rainey, by Billie Holiday, by Patsy Cline, people like that. The campfire thing especially, because we recorded very minimally, and the idea was to make it sound like an old blues 78, like from the 20s or the 30s. So there's a hiss to it, and there's a low fidelity, and that was totally supposed to be there. I felt like the grit of these songs, if we went into a perfect studio with a perfect reverb and amazing microphones, might get lost. And I always love those old records because there's a very creepy thing listening to those voices kind of peer out from the crackles.
Right, there's a lot of space in those. There's a lot of air going around that you hear things in those old records.
Yeah, there's all sorts of strange things happening. I've always loved that. So that was the general idea, and now we're doing it a little bit more amplified. When we went up there, it was 2 acoustic basses, drum kit, and both of the keyboard players either played, Ed Kornhauser played melodica, and Branson played a little battery-powered amplifier. So here we have the full piano and Fender Rhodes, so we're doing it a little bit more kind of production level.
So, murder ballads, so you talked a little bit about kind of Ma Rainey, Billie Holiday. How did those kind of come together into this theme of murder ballads? Just because you had this other, the other disc, that was a response.
Record. Yeah, and I started thinking about, like, everybody, not everybody, but there's a lot of people that write breakup records, right?
Right.
What are the classic ones? Blood on the Tracks.
Right.
What's that, Fleetwood Mac? Rumors. Is there a classic jazz breakup album?
I don't know. There's probably,
There's
if anybody recorded it, probably Billie Holiday.
Totally. I mean,
Holiday.
a lot of Billie Holiday's records are almost breakup records.
Right.
So I started thinking about, well, most of these breakup records are kind of like, they're very sad and mopey and all these things, but there's different ways to look at it. So that was sort of my take, was like, okay, well, what's a different way to look at that? And also not from such a male perspective. This middle ground is definitely coming from male perspective, and after a while I realized this is all about, from a dude's perspective. And clearly I use things that happened to me in the past as sort of fodder for this information. And I thought, well, what about all those times when you were happy to get out of this relationship,
right.
or you needed to get out of a relationship? So I started thinking about that. It's an interesting thing because I'm not totally speaking from personal experience, which, certain people have issues with. People start to think, okay, well, is he just, is he playing a game or something?
Right.
So it brings up all these other issues that I've never had to deal with, because I don't usually write kind of these thematic things. If I'm writing, it's mostly instrumental music, and there usually are these concepts, but they're, not so maybe put into relationship type things.
I like that you brought that up, because this is different music than your kind of instrumental, the instrumental music that you usually do. So let's then bring in the people that you talked about, that you played this with. So you play with a lot of different musicians in a lot of different contexts.
Yeah.
How was this group that you put together for the Scarlet Woman record, how was this the right people to do this? And a lot of the same people are here tonight playing with you.
Yeah, it's the exact same lineup from the record. It took a second to actually figure out what that was. Clearly Harley has played with me. This was released under the Uggs 11 banner, which is a band I've run that was sort of set up to play populist music, if that makes any sense. So, and do different things and not be afraid to do a record that's a bossa nova record and then something totally different. So Harley's been in that band for a long time. Molly I've had a long background of playing with Molly Whitaker, and she seemed a bit obvious thing. There was also kind of there was in the back of my mind, I was thinking Caruso too, sort of an operatic voice rather than somebody that was trying to be a blues singer.
Could hear that during sound check too. Yeah.
It was a blues singer. Molly's an opera singer,
Right.
and I thought that would be really interesting to have that kind of sound on top of that. So that she was like a clear idea. Ed Kornhauser. A lot of this music also is sort of pre-bebop jazz, if that makes sense.
Yeah,
right?
roots music.
So swing music or New Orleans jazz or different things. Ed's great. He can play a little stride. He's got that Errol Garner thing. He can go a bunch of different places, and okay, we got to get that. That's a key part of this too.
Yeah, there's definitely a kind of a honky-tonkish
There's
kind
a little
of
bit of a
feel
little
to
country
that.
in
Yeah,
there.
a little
There's
country in there. Yeah,
all
correct.
these different things.
Yeah.
Definitely like a pre-electric music, which is funny for us on the stage playing with all these amplifiers and stuff. But so that was sort of the idea, and then I had been playing with Branson and Jerome in a band called The Scorpion Decides in Phoenix when I lived out there, and Branson's been doing a lot of interesting keyboard stuff, and Jerome moved out here and has been living in La Jolla, so I thought, well, I want to incorporate these two bands together, so I thought that was the perfect thing, was to bring them in and have them play these parts. So that was how that came out. It was kind of happenstance, and then also like people coming into your lives. I find that like people come into my lives and that kind of changes what I'm writing or what I'm doing, and then but then also there's the music. You write music and you say, okay, I need these things. I need a French horn player and a cello player. And I need to. So you have to go find those people.
You have to go find one.
And then sometimes those people just. I've been playing with Caitlin Crow, this cello player, recently, and it's great because I have this music that I've written over the years, and I've never had a cello player. I've never been able to find a cello player that's comfortable improvising and all these things. So there's all this backlog of stuff that I've always wanted to do but wasn't available. So there's kind of these two things, I guess, like 1 foot, 2 foot, going back and forth.
Yeah, it's like when you're looking for a red car on the road, they're all red. Or,
Exactly.
That kind of thing, they come up on you. Okay, well then let's talk. Let's ask the San Diego Music Award question. So this year you won for, as I said, Encinitas and Everything After, a 5-volume set that was released over 5 months, different shows. Quite an epic thing, and again, congratulations on that. But I see that hasn't really changed the fact that you still do musical theater and you still do those other kind of things. Where has it impacted you, winning that award?
I think people take me more seriously in some ways. I've been able to break down a few doors and glass ceilings that I've done and I do a wide variety of stuff. And understandably, if I'm trying to play a restaurant gig and somebody finds a video of me on YouTube playing free jazz, they get a little freaked out. So the name behind that has helped to sort of say like, well, no matter what he's doing, or maybe I don't understand what he's doing, but he is serious about what he's doing. So
He
that's
must
been
be
a
a
good
pro
thing.
if he's won an award. Yeah.
Fingers crossed on that one. And other than that, it's been, I said this recently, I think it's going to take a few years to figure out like how that affects me and stuff. Clearly I put out a lot of music, I've released a lot of music, and so we'll see in the next maybe 10 years how that's all plays out.
So then let's talk just a little bit then, dig into the that other side. And it really, in the arc of all the music you play, you playing musical theater doesn't actually seem that kind of strange. It just seems like kind of another slice of the pie for you.
Sure.
But I think a lot of people would say, "Oh, wow, you're playing West Side Story," or as you are coming up in July and August, you're playing at Signet Theater and you're playing for Dogfight.
Yeah.
So
But
how does that work for you? I mean,
Well, clearly it's money.
Yeah.
I mean, I have to make a living and pay some bills. So, but
it's
I
a
do,
lot of dates too. Yeah.
Yeah, this one, I haven't done such a long one in a year or two. So the musical theater thing, I think all of these things just form parts of what I do. I mean, I also play, doom metal, in
Right.
rock clubs.
Right,
I've been
right.
playing with a group called Podunk Nowhere, which you could label sort of alt country or folk rock, which is a great band. I love playing that. These are all different things that I enjoy. I try not to do things that I really don't like. Sometimes you have to. Sometimes you need the money. But I enjoy being out there and being a sideman and playing music. If somebody else has some music, I'm known as a band leader, and I'm known as putting out these things and doing these giant projects, and that's very important, and that's a large part of what I do. But I really do enjoy being a sideman. I enjoy going out and doing pickup gigs, playing jazz or playing rock gigs, or even did a few top 40 gigs recently, which is actually, that's something I don't do very much.
Right.
I do a lot of musical theater. I do a lot of experimental stuff. I do a lot of jazz, free improv gigs. So I like different challenges and trying to keep myself busy, keep my mind busy.
Right. So after your July and August spent doing the musical theater, it looks like you then come back to some of your regular ensembles with Passenger dates in September, Scorpion Decides dates. What other plans do you have? Do you have some things that are just people would not even? It's hard to imagine that it's something you wouldn't do. But are there things that you've been thinking about that you're trying to get to that you haven't yet?
Most of my plans just involve on projects that I run and how to get the music that I've written for them recorded or performed. Passengers has a new set of material that we've been playing for about a year or two now, and it's getting to the point we're playing that It's Not a Jazz Fest. Scorpion Decides is going to be I believe in October. We're going to be out in Phoenix playing. So there's these things. I have a quartet. I did a quartet recording with Alex Klein, Stuart Liebig, and G.E. Stinson in L.A., which is a super fun record that I play vibes and a little bit of electronics. Trying to figure out how to get that released. I also I've been playing a duo a lot with Stuart Liebig, and we just did a bunch of recordings. So those are sort of the things in the forward. I'm trying to figure out how to get those released. The trio with Kyle Model and Peter Kuhn recorded recently, and we also recorded with Perry Robinson, which was really cool. So we're trying to figure out how to get those out. It's a really interesting time with the CD kind of being extinct and the digital thing, but nobody's buying the digital thing. They
Right.
expect to stream it and all these things. So to find labels to put this out, or do you put it out yourself and nobody hears it? You've got about 4 options, and none of them are that great right now. So these questions.
That's got to be part of the whole being a musician thing now, is just figuring out
Figuring out
what's
how
your
to do
channel
that.
and how do you do it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And okay, is this going to change in 10 years, or is this going to be
Which
it?
it will.
Yeah, it's hard
Do
to
well.
imagine. I mean, I have a double CD, a large ensemble, Skeleton Key Orchestra. It's the second record we did. It's never come out. It's been about 8 years. It's done, mastered, ready to go. I have artwork. I have liner notes. I just don't know what to do with it. Like, give it to Chad.
There you go.
It's a great record. It's some of the most sort of intense compositional stuff I've done, and the recording sounds really good. But who puts out a double CD in 2015? You know, it's amazing.
Yeah, I know it.
I
Who
could
puts
put
out
it-
5 volumes?
I know.
So.
Tell me about it. I know.
Exactly.
See?
Well,
These big
you
projects.
keep putting it out, and we'll keep playing, especially in the evenings during progressive nights from 10 to midnight, Monday through Friday here at Jazz 88.3. Nathan, tell folks where they can hook up with you, find out more about you, internet, and other places.
Easiest thing is just a web search, Nathan Hubbard. I am not the CEO of Ticketmaster, nor am I the guy. There's a few Nathan Hubbards.
Right.
Website is www.casterandpolluxmusic.com. I'm on Facebook. I'm on YouTube. I'm on Instagram. I'm on Tumblr. There's a few others. They're easy to find with a Google search or whatever your favorite search engine is.
Well, we'll make sure we get links to all of those from jazz88.org. Nathan, thank you for being here at Jazz Live San Diego. It's great to have you.
Thanks, Vince.
Okay.
15 minutes exact, right?
Bingo.
Bingo.